And we are live. Welcome to Dog in the Tank comic chat. Yeah, I had to try to get this thing to cooperate a little bit. It was being a little difficult, but I got to work. So I shall let you look at that while I take care of something here. And there we go. I got that taken care of. I apologize for the long silence there. I usually like timing this so I can quickly share things and then get word out. But I want to go ahead and get this taken care of, so that's what I was tending to real quick here. So uh, I I guess a little bit about the thumbnail. Last time it was the villain of Victor Kingdom with Lacrimosa. This time it is Valor, also from the same comic, Grieving Princess. Darn it. And he is a prince from the Golden Kingdom in the story, and he pops up in arc 3, I believe. Yes, yeah. That's his arc, basically. Well, introduction arc, as we sort of expand the world of the series. So this is him. And like little thing I'm gonna be doing with the thumbnails, at least a little bit, is like having like these little comics with it. I just wanted to have some fun, and so that is what I'm doing. So this one does relate to the previous thumbnail. So yeah, just a bit of fun there. Because I had the idea. I don't know if this will actually become canon in the story, although there will be some back and forth between him and the villain of Victor Kingdom because they just overall have uh, different perspectives on the situation. Let's just say that they are very different people, which they should be, and they have lived very, very different lives. So yeah, let me just close that now that I am done with it. I did not get around to finish this page since last week. I meant to. It didn't happen, so I'm just going to live with it. So I'm just going to pull this color, and you probably will get to see me finish this page today. That's my goal. The weekend was just busy and I didn't get around to doing it, so I shall hopefully finish it today. If this thing being wonky. It was acting weird yesterday, but I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more cooperative, at least for the live stream. So yeah. Same page from the last live stream. Just gonna get this colored in. Basically, I want to knock out Lacrimosa, then I want to work on King Severus. Since I like doing my pages. I used to like doing my pages in bulk. I can still do them in bulk. It's just I haven't really been very successful in doing that lately, so I'm doing what I have been successful at doing, which is just picking a page, working through it, and moving to the next one. Because sometimes you just gotta do what works versus what you would prefer to do. So, in a way, I find it shocking because I used to do during my time on Webtoons, I used to do like 10 or even 12 pages in like 2 weeks, and I've hello, good evening indeed. I've seriously slowed down. In a way, that's a good thing. I hope that means I'm improving, but it's just a little bit shocking to think about. There we go. So yeah, I also sort of went and did some minor little tweaks because I got to looking at some of the spots and I didn't really like how some of them look, so I was trying to fix it. And even this isn't perfect, so I may go in. You may see me going in with the eraser and kind of tidying up some areas here and there, because I am seeing those. It's like being a doctor. It's like you think you got something, healed up, and then you start looking at things and you realize I missed a spot. That was not that was not him. You did hear a bird. I forgot to close a certain door, which is adjacent to where I'm working. So you did hear a bird. I had a brief commentary from from our pet birds. So yeah. In fact, I think that may have happened on a previous stream. I forgot to close that door, and we have a couple little lovebirds. And the little lovebirds have these little shrill voices that just literally cut through everything, especially your ears. And they are the cutest things, but they have the biggest beaks out of any little bird that you can get. Yes, it did. But yeah. So that's why I'm trying to keep that door closed. I don't mind the little lovebirds chiming in and giving me a little bit of commentary, but uh yeah. So here we go. So yeah, I'm sort of thinking about what to talk about here because part of me would like to talk more about this series. The other part of me feels like I have a lot more things to develop with this series, so it's that thing of I really don't want to say anything that may not become canon, because I don't want to say something on here and then later, if I ever catch any sort of like legit traction, have to be walk it back because for whatever reason I changed my mind. It's like I just don't want to, because I feel like that's kind of frustrating to people. It's like saying I'm doing this, then the actual thing comes out and you're doing something totally different. So yeah. I just feel like that that just gives the wrong impression. I mean, I get why some artists will do that, and I think there are people out there who really enjoy hearing and seeing like the overall creative process. But in general, by the time you see me working on the comic, as in what you're seeing here, yeah, it does. But I just don't want to have to deal with that sort of problem. So whenever I'm talking about key characters, I will keep it kind of bare bare minimum, sort of, I guess, for lack of a better description. That, and I want there to be a lot of things for y'all to discover when I actually get the comic done. I don't want to have to tell everything. I already feel like I've sort of done that a little bit, and I don't want to do it too much. That, and after I finish this, the current 22 pages I'm working on, I plan on switching to a different series to work on. I think I may have mentioned that previously, but I'll mention it again. So, you may be getting some different thumbnail, or not so much different thumbnails, but fresh characters. You've actually seen some of the characters from what I'm talking about. If you watch the villain video, and I think a previous just quiet live stream where I was just drawing the characters, because I have a lot of characters I'm juggling. Actually, if you hear anything, it could be the sound. It's probably pretty much just me. I have a air thing behind me, so you could be hearing that if you hear background noise. I've thought about turning it off, but I think it's basically just background noise. I don't really see a point in messing with it. I am eager to eventually get into the other series. I actually literally had the entire first 22 pages for that drawn up, but then I got on a roll with doing Grieving Princess, and I tend to go with what I'm really focused on at the moment versus what I'm kind of out of step with, so to speak. So I will eventually get around to getting back on that. So you might actually get to see kind of the storyboard refinement of that those 22 pages. So yeah. I think I saw something else in here I want to. Yep, there is. I don't mind if the hair goes outside the lines a little bit. I just don't want to be too messy. If I can find the right layer here. I was on the right layer. Okay. Oh, okay. I see what I did. I put on the wrong layer. And there we go. Okay. We will live. I will live. That's fine. Just tidy this up. Okay, okay. That is what I did. So yeah. So basically, I would like to, I guess, touch on a little bit of my overall thing that I'm working on. That isn't just Grieving Princess. It isn't just Phantom Eclipse. Things are still kind of up in the air currently, but they are moving forward. But I want to kind of wait till basically I get to a point where I can absolutely just say, this is what I'm doing, this is when this will happen, blah blah blah. And that's why I'm hesitant to really drop more than I absolutely want to. I think what I can do is select, cut, turn that off, and that worked out exactly how I want it to. So good, I have everything back on the layer I want. Good. So yeah, that's my game plan currently. And like I said, there's 22 pages of a different series I want to work on. Let me refresh the chat. And then as soon as I can get to a point where I have basically everything in the chute and I feel absolutely comfortable with dropping more information on it, I will. That is my game plan for now. As I proceed to draw on the wrong layer again. Oh well. I caught myself. That's the worst thing about this style. It has too many layers. Yeah. That is a good idea to wrap up the short stories, because that is one thing I struggle with myself. Is it's easy to start a bunch of stories. The hard part is finishing the darn things. And I missed a spot here. It will grind and then I will get back to work. I thank you. For the most part, I have sort of been using more of a short story method to write my stories, because that's a lot easier to do, like a little do it in smaller chunks, and that way it also makes adapting it easier, because then I'm dealing with a lot less story to work with. Although, as I was writing just Grieving Princess Arc 1, the story kept getting longer and longer with each one, because I was writing, I'm like, I can fit this into 22 pages. Well, what fits into 22 pages? I guess that is unfortunately a mark of my inexperience versus what doesn't, because I don't do your traditional comic writing thing. I don't make a script. I write like a book, and that's probably my problem right there in a nutshell. Yeah, I don't know. I've tried writing a script before, but to me, I just feel like it doesn't really give me the room to, write what I want exactly. So, again, that could just go back towards my inexperience. and I've just found what works for me. So I tend to lean towards what I've found that works. Mm. All scripts have their purpose. It's like everything. They have their purpose. There is a reason why, you know, a bunch of basically the pros use them, you know. So I wouldn't say that they're overrated because they do serve a purpose. I just don't use them. That, and if technically, I guess if I were to do anything more, like try to do like an animation or something, I would have to like go through and learn to do some sort of scripting probably, or have somebody like adapt it for me. Is it like I am planning on trying to make this sort of a shorter live stream today. I don't know if I will be able to stick to that, but I have other things to tend to. I wish I didn't have to worry about those, but there are important things. So I want to hop on here and, quickly try to knock out this page at least. And just save me another layer. I could go in here, I could just open up another layer, but layers can be difficult. If I can get this thing to. There we go. Mm. Well, another reason that you want to write it in a book form, in my opinion, is if that's really your end game, or it could act as like a backup, And I have actually been sort of wanting to do just a written book, but then I make the mistake of being like, I want to draw this character. So then I draw the character. And then I'm like, I want to keep drawing this character. And so then I want to do a comic instead of a written book. And it's frustrating because that's what stinks. Because I drew the Broad Daylight Bloodsucker the other day, and I really like how he came out in that video. I didn't have, usually whenever I'm drawing a character on here, I have like my character sheets or notebooks right here. And so if you hear me flipping through a book, that is what I'm doing. I'm looking for a character's reference sheet. And I didn't have one for him. But then I drew him on that video, and now I want an excuse to draw him more. I hope so, and I hope it will definitely stand up to your hopes and expectations, because I want to do the best I can do. I'm trying to find the layer. I think I'm already on the layer I want. Okay. There we go. So I have to color in her knee because I missed it the first time I was working on this. It's okay if it's a little messy. But yeah. The thing that I'm working on is kind of something that I want an excuse to basically be able to write all the stories that I want to write and draw. And I thought of that as the best way to go about doing it, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. In a way, I'm sort of scared because it will be a lot of work, but I'm also excited because I think it will be a lot of fun. And it'll give me an excuse to draw a bunch of different characters. And write a bunch of different characters. I shall refresh this. Okay. There we go. Yeah, one more little spot here. I hope it will. Is I draw on the wrong layer. I keep saying that. That's because I'm trying to multitask and I'm failing. But I at least have my layers figured out a little bit more now. I had them figured out, but I haven't really looked at this page because I was working on some other stuff in a day or two. So yeah. Probably my biggest complaint is all the stuff that gets outside the lines. I have to go in and clean up. So anyways, well, there we go. Let's tidy this up real quick. I want to get her tidy up as much as possible because then I'll be working on on the wrong layer again. Well, yes it is. I think I will just tidy this up and leave it at that. In a way, it's not as bad if it's the hair that's a little messy compared to like the clothing or the skin, because you know she has a lot of hair and it's kind of going everywhere, but at least where there is lines dictated, I want to stay within said lines. Well, she is currently flying, so yeah. That's gonna be my next concern, is going in and taking care of her wings. Okay. Now to sort of shift gears here. I think I'm already on the layer. I'm below the layer I want. So time to pop back here. I'm going back to sample. Come on, move. The colors I want because I want to keep certain things consistent. Come on. There we go. So there we go. Yeah, it's getting there. If I can get this thing to cooperate. So yeah. I guess to sort of tie into like the I'm trying to think here. The chat we had last time, the movie thing. Let's see. What's another classic horror film? Or something. Something horror. Horror. There we go. Come on. Zoom. Oh no, we're gonna... Okay. I thought I was gonna do the saving whatever. Because it does that. It saves the progress, which is great. I think that's a great feature for this to have. The Wolfman. Yes. Classic with Lon Chaney Jr. I always thought that he is so good at acting and doing just the tragic characters. I mean, he's also in the Alligator People, and he plays, a totally different character in that. But in my opinion, his role as the Wolfman is just legendary because he just looks so distressed and just crushed, And that's part of what makes that movie so good is just that in a nutshell, because he just looks just so distressed and upset. And Claude Rains does really good in the role as the father that he doesn't believe in this supernatural nonsense, and that's part of what makes the ending of it so brutal and so tragic. And then you have the sequel where where Wolfman gets brought back. It's a little bit of spoilers there. I apologize, but that's kind of how the sequels worked for a lot of the Universal monster movies. Is that they would bring back they would either bring them back or they would find someone to like carry the mantle. So yeah, with the Wolfman they brought him back. Frankenstein they brought him back. Dracula on the other hand, Bela Lugosi never was in any of the sequels. But at least not to my knowledge, so I apologize if I got that wrong. But John Carradine, I think, did really good. And whenever you listen to the book of Dracula, the Dracula book, I think John Carradine, appearance-wise, is a lot closer compared to Bela Lugosi. Not to say that Bela Lugosi's version wasn't great, because he did amazing in that role, but just appearance-wise, I think Carradine is a bit more book accurate. Okay. Come on. There we go. And at some point in here, I gotta add the highlights, which is basically lighter versions of the colors in question, but I will worry about that later. I just want to get in the flats. There are actually, now I'm thinking about the Wolfman sequels. There are several sequels, and I think they are kind of some of the better ones. Sort of. I haven't seen them in a while. That was part of the fun that I used to have, is I would just go through I used to go through and watch all of the follow-up sequels, and I have not done that in a while. But it is sort of fun to know that that's there and to do it on whenever the opportunity comes up. Because there is like Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and that is a really interesting one. Because basically, I think in that one, I think that could be the sequel. I'm not sure. Like I said, there's several sequels, but I think basically Lon Chaney's Wolfman uh, goes to the village where the Frankenstein incident happens, and he's basically wanting to see if the Frankenstein method that was used to create the monster could be used to destroy him. I think that's basically the overall plot, but alas, yeah. And there's another one where he like goes to a psychiatrist lab or someplace, and it's funny because that one actually has like Dracula in it. It could be Wolfman meets not Wolfman meets Dracula. It's not. I don't think it's that simple of a title, but basically he goes there to get help from a doctor, and it's yeah. I want to say I want to remember that one actually having sort of a tragic, somewhat happy ending. It's horror, so of course it can have a happy ending, or it can be, it can be a sad ending. That's why I've always found interesting about that genre is that there's a lot more flexibility for the movies or the stories in it. Is that you can have a tragic ending, you can have a happy ending, you can have a bittersweet ending. I was listening to a story recently. I've been sort of on a Wendigo thing lately in terms of looking up stories, because Lighthouse Horror has some Wendigo stories, and I was listening to one yesterday, and basically this guy, he has a girlfriend, and they live on basically by this place called the Devil's Elbow. And what happens is his girlfriend leaves his dog up there, trapped in a shed, when a fire starts on the mountainside. And of course, he goes to save the dog. And it was a very good one. It's a short and sweet one, but it's a very good story. I liked how it ended. It's a very good story. There's another one I listened to, also a Wendigo one. But basically, this guy, he gets a totally different story. Just so you know, but it is also voiced, not voiced. Lighthouse Horror, does the audio for it. But this guy loses his wife and his friends, and basically then like 25 years later or something, he goes back to where that happened to kill the Wendigo that took his family and friends from him. That was also another good one. It's a very long one though, so it took me a couple of days to work through it. I mean, I've worked through longer ones, but that one was, I think, a little over 2 hours long. I tend to avoid long stories unless I know for a fact that I'll basically be able to finish them. Because I hate being in the middle of the story and then, for whatever reason, having to basically run off and not finish it. Which story? Well, they're both Lighthouse Horror. Give me a minute here. Let me find. I've taken to trying to save like the ones I really like to my playlist here. Okay. The one where the guy leaves Guy goes to save his dog, I think is maybe uh I'm not sure. But the one where the guy goes to kill the Wendigo to avenge his friends and wife is I rented a cabin on Wendigo Mountain. So yeah. I want to say that the other one is I live in a cabin by the woods. People in my town are going missing. But some of these titles for these stories are a little bit misleading. Not all of them are clear and straightforward. Some of them are, and others are kind of misleading. And for me, that's rather frustrating. That's why I'm to the point that I save, if I find a story I like, I save it to a playlist because I had one that Dr. Creepin did that I really liked. I wanted to hear again. Could not find it to, you know, looked for it for a long time. Then I finally found it. And then for some reason, it's a hard one to find. I don't get that. So I'm to the point, if I find a story I like, I save it to a playlist because I hate wanting to hear the story again and I cannot find it. It's frustrating. Because I like trying to keep my favorites available and easy access. Because sometimes you just, you know, I guess it's weird to say that the horror genre is a bit of a comfort genre for me to a degree, but I would aim that more at stories that are specifically my favorite. So yeah. Yeah, I'm having to I can go, that's what I like about the regular winged characters. Have you seen Snakes on Plane? I think I've seen bits and pieces, but I have not actually just sat down and seen it as a whole. So I may have to get around and see. I have seen, however, Anaconda with Jon Voight. That is, I saw it once. It's just, it kills me the way that they made the snake for that. Because anacondas do not look like that. The in the face, I mean, like the rest of it is like passable, but the face just drives me nuts. And I say that because I've had to look up pictures for reference for my anaconda characters for the other series I've mentioned. And it's just like, did no one do more research to make sure that the puppet thing would look more like the. Because that's what it looks like in the movie. It doesn't look like a real. It doesn't look CGI. I could be wrong. It could be CGI. Anacondas, I think, can eat humans. Any snake that gets big enough, you know, can probably eat humans. I actually read this really weird story. I don't know if I could ever find it again. But this woman had some sort of pet constrictor. And I don't remember what kind of constrictor it was, whether it was anaconda or python, because I was just gobsmacked at the rest of the story. But she would let the thing sleep with her on her bed, assuming this story is real. And okay, but this woman at some point noticed that her snake wasn't eating. And of course, I'm just flabbergasted by the fact that she's letting it sleep on her bed alongside her because it's like, or wrapped around her. Correction, it was wrapped around her. Because, you know, this isn't a dog or a cat, you know. This is a predatory reptile. And eventually she takes it to the vet and she's like, my snake is not eating, what's wrong? And the vet is like, your snake is sizing you up to eat you, which scares her. And I think she got rid of the snake, gave it away or something, and got something less likely to eat her. But I do think that they can eat humans. So I feel like that in a way that's something that just feels like so out there. Like there's no way they would do it, but they are still predatory animals. You can't just say, well, they wouldn't. They're predatory animals. They would probably eat. They can eat things that are as big as a human, if not bigger. That's basically what I was thinking whenever I was reading that story, and I was seriously wondering. Yeah, I know there are people out there who are just nutty, but it's like, again, this is not. You're a pet cat or a dog. This is something that gets big enough to eat you. Why in the world would you do that? So, yeah, assuming that story is real, yeah. That is my biggest question throughout reading that entire article. But yeah. I sort of think that's one of those clickbait stories that, wind up out there, but I feel like unfortunately there's enough plausibility in it that it could have happened. So I'm going to give that kind of a 50-50. It could be real or it could be, something someone just made up to make a clickbait story. You never know these days. But there are probably people who would put together something like that just to make an article, just to have something. So yeah. I do think that those kinds of snakes can and are capable of that. I mean, they eat antelopes, or not antelopes. I would have to do more research, but they do eat large mammals. I think I have seen like a picture of one that tried to eat a crocodile and basically wound up not surviving the experience. So yeah, they can eat. If they can eat critters like that, they can probably eat humans. They are big, beautiful creatures, but there is a reason why they are made the way they are. I think snakes are gorgeous, and that's why I want to do one of my series I'm working on. But I would never want to particularly own anything that, yeah, was like venomous or anything, or could potentially eat me. So yeah. Amen. I never plan to find out either. They really are. They are made for hunting and stuff. So yeah. We are sort of slowly creeping up on hours, so I think I'll give it maybe another 12 minutes or so. And the reason that you see this bit here that I'm waving the stylus over is because I'm trying to give a little motion blur to kind of make that gesture he makes here of, the swinging the arm across a little bit more dramatic. I used to do that in Phantom Eclipse some. There are many ways to add motion blur to a comic, and I tend to go with, I guess, what would be called maybe more traditional methods, based on what I've seen used. Okay, excellent. So yeah. He is wearing a comparable. Yeah, yeah. I think I recall that in your story. I think I recall that. Again, snakes are very beautiful creatures, but they are just. I think I was also watching something on YouTube the other day. I thank you. Basically, this guy had his pet gaboon viper out, and he was talking about how it bothers him how comfortable some of these people get with gaboon vipers because they are. Oh, thank you very much. Everything's good. Everything's good. Just working away here. So yeah. And I'm just trying to decide what I want to do with his armor here. What I do with Concords. Okay. That is what I did. It's a little bit of a darker purple. I use too much purple. Oh. Oh, that's cool. I have actually done one like that too. I haven't done any art with him yet. But yeah, they are very beautiful. The snakes are just very beautiful creatures. You know, they're dangerous and deadly. So I wouldn't want to own one that was, but they are gorgeous things. But yeah, I have a character like that. Who is a gaboon viper, based on a gaboon viper. So I'm hoping that you will get to see him eventually on here. So yeah, I'm actually working on like a series that is, I want to say snake people. I mentioned that to someone else, and they're like, well, Marvel did something with snake people, and it's like, yeah, I know. But that's their snake people. These are my snake people. I do not plan on actually naming the comic Snake People. I'm actually still working on the name for that. It's just taking a while for me to decide on something. Because I had one name in mind, but then I was reworking it. I wound up scrapping the reason why it was going to be that name. Because I didn't want to mislead people and make them think that, oh, it's going to be this, and then again, it's not. So I hope to eventually pick out a proper name for that series and get the ball rolling. But yeah. Well, I have some names I've written down, and I just haven't gotten around to, picking them out. Because I want to do is I write down the titles I have in mind, and then I will go through and search each one before I pick something, because I don't want to risk having any sort of copyright issues, Things are things are difficult and tedious enough. I don't need legal issues. Let me see. Okay. So there we go. Plug that little hole. So yeah. That is actually the one that I plan on working on after this series after I get done with these 22 pages is to work on that one. That is the one I mentioned. I have the storyboard for it drawn up, and I actually am really looking forward to talking about that one because I've sat on it for so long and I have a lot of it developed. I have a good bit of it developed. I have to develop more, but I have enough that I can work with to move forward right now. So, yeah. And to be honest, whenever I say, yeah, they are. I'm leery about really asking for people with help in picking out, with helping with certain things in my work because I'm just kind of, I would like to think that, no one would do something and that would cause me problems, but I just want to avoid any sort of those problems. I genuinely appreciate um, your offer, but I think I will fight this war on my own. And I hope I will pick something that is worthy. So, yeah. They are. You know, that is a problem that feel like everyone has to worry about. Because that does happen. People do. Problems happen, and there's some people out there I feel like don't really care if somehow you have a similar name series to theirs. But there are people out there that do care, and, they will gladly unleash all sorts of problems on somebody. So that's why I take my time on certain things, and before I use a name, I try to Google it. Now, if something shows up later with the same title or something, after I've already put something out, I don't really sweat it because mine was out before that. I can't control what other people do. No, thank you. But yeah, that series I will be working on after this. You'll get to see me. I plan on showing some of the storyboarding process of that, of those 22 pages. There we go. I actually have one that a storyboard that I did on pencil and paper that is I will be working off of. I like doing it like that. I like doing something like traditionally and then coming back around and refining it on the computer. That I've discovered doing things traditionally kind of helps keep my drawing skills sharp. Let me find the right layer I want to work with here. There we go. Target locked. If I can get this to zoom. If I can get to switch. There we go. Hmm. Yeah. I was actually trying to do some research because I'm sort of getting to the point here where I will have to seriously start thinking about picking a name for it because I do plan on trying to get that up soon, or at least, like I said, whenever I start live streaming some of that process, I would like to at least have a name. I mean, uh, y'all already know Grieving Princess, Phantom Eclipse, and Flowers of Solace. If and those are mine. If anyone has seen my other live streams or some of my videos, so I would like to be able to have a title to be like, this is such and such series instead of just being clueless. So yeah, I started writing down some names, and I have an idea where I want to go with it. I sort of found one that I like, and I guess I sort of want to go with like kind of a shonen-esque name for it. If anyone's familiar with like manga and stuff, since that was sort of the very loose inspiration for that story, since it's basically snake people and giant robots. To basically sort of sum that up real quick. And I've thought about trying to name it something a little bit similar to that, but I want to do more work, do more legwork, and see what's out there before I really, officially consider that that's what I want to pick. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, I'm not sure I really like those colors for that. I don't know. I will go with this for now, and then maybe do a little bit of research and change this layer. So I guess consider, unless for some reason I get rushed and just go ahead and leave these crown jewels, this color. Consider this sort of just a stand-in, because I would like to be working on winding it down shortly. So yeah. Yeah, I forgot this crown. So scroll. So yeah. I guess I want to sort of finish coloring at least the flats on the characters, and then as I wait for this to do its thing. Come on. And yeah. Wonderful thing that they have going for Clip Art Studio here. I just wish it was a little quicker, because it seems to just grind for a bit, which is frustrating. Mm. I think I want to say it for me. I did start reading some comics when I was a kid, and that thing just did something weird. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're back. I have read some comics as a kid, but I eventually got into this thing is not cooperating. Come on. There we go. Yeah, this thing's being a little difficult today. And then eventually I got into reading manga, and that's where I draw more inspiration from. I try to separate my inspiration from my actual work because I feel like it's very easy to do the kind of the monkey see monkey do type thing and just have so many ideas and always chase the thing, but that's not a good way to write anything. So I try to slow down, just focus on developing my own work. But yeah, that's what sucks. I mean, I've read some of the DreamWorks, not DreamWorks, Dreamwave Transformers comics. I remember reading those when I was a kid, and I was just blown away by the quality of the art. And I used to sit there and think, "There's no way I could ever do anything like this." Thank you. And and now here we are, years later, and I'm doing comics. I don't consider my work on the same level. I mean, I'm talking the volume 2 of Transformers, War and Peace, War Within. I remember reading that, and that was just really gorgeous. I think I can go ahead and. Yeah, okay. And that was one thing. I used to read some of the Spider Girl comics because my local library had several of those, and I fell in love with it. I actually got a volume of the Spider Girl because I found it at kind of uh one of those stores where they like people bring in books and they can swap them or whatever, or however that works. And I got a volume of that. It's like they did it in like the manga size, basically. Where I want the lighting to come from. Okay. So I have that. I would love to get more of Spider Girl. I saw someone post some Spider Girl stuff today on Twitter, and I was just shocked that like someone else brought that up because I love reading some of the Spider Girl, Mayday, May Parker as a kid, and I was just kind of bummed and crushed when I could no longer find that at the library where I had been getting it. I mean, I don't know what happened to it. I mean, I sort of suspect that maybe someone stole it, or maybe, who knows, who knows. But I was just bummed and crushed. And of course, the Dreamwave stuff that the other library had, that was gone, I think. I think there was one thing that they were showing for a long time I haven't looked at in years to see if they even still list it. But it was like a Transformers something. Yeah. Huh. I've heard some good things about Kaiju number 8. I haven't seen it. I haven't read the manga. I heard that they're coming out with an anime soon. But I haven't really bothered with looking into that since I've been focused on my own stuff lately. So I may have to eventually look into that. I did, however, read part of the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, and I've been hearing it was being compared to Tite Kubo's Bleach. I don't think they actually meant the art style, but I was a little bummed to see that it wasn't a little bit closer, but I can't really blame that mangaka for using pens, because dip pens are just, they're amazing tools if you know how to use them. But yeah, in a way, I think part of Jujutsu Kaisen's popularity does really come from just how beautiful the animation for the anime is. Because I've seen some clips of that, and that is just amazing. Cool. I may have to definitely check out Kaiju 8. But yeah, I was a little frustrated whenever I hear something being compared to like Tite Kubo's Bleach, because I think that some people are maybe meant art style. I'm not sure, but either way, whether or not they did, I misconstrued it. But I love Tite Kubo's art style. I mean, even if you don't really like Bleach, his art is gorgeous. So yeah, some really good anime coming out lately. So I should probably eventually just make a list and then try to work through. I already have like a bunch of stuff I have started. I just have not gotten around to finishing. I will have to. I want to finish what I've already started before I jump into something else. I'm trying to get into that thing where I do finish stuff I start. So yeah. Hmm. I read the manga up to a point before I watched the anime, so I would say, like, if you really don't want to bother with the anime, maybe go for the manga instead, because sometimes it's just easier to deal with that. And it does have filler episodes, and I just, as a person, I don't really want to spend time on a filler episode that, you know, it doesn't, basically doesn't really mean anything to the plot. So I would say maybe try reading the manga rather than the watching the anime, just to see if that's a little bit faster paced for you. Mm. I haven't really been reading much in the way of comics myself. Uh, I don't think I only really recently became aware of like the indie scene as I was trying to get somewhere myself with my own work. So I'm kind of very new to the scene. I think on previous live stream I mentioned I started out on Webtoons, and I've since moved away from it because I just don't really want to bother with that. I want to work at my own pace without killing myself for some insane, you know, working schedule or something. I already tried that. Been there, done that. Burn the t-shirt. But yeah, I've become more aware of the indie scene, and I'm a little bit scared to really dip my toes in all the way, besides just trying to get my own work out there. But I don't really know of any, aside from what I've heard about, like the Rippaverse, which I would like to check out their stuff at some point. uh I would I'd like to know, like, what are some really good indie things that I could check out at some point, because I would like to kind of get a better, grip of what's out there. Well, comics wise, at least. Hmm. Cool. Well, then I'll have to try to check out some of their work at some point. Whenever I'm at a point where I can kind of break away from my own work for a little bit and try to check out other people's stuff. Do some of these people have like places where I can just go and buy the book? Because I would kind of like to be able to just buy stuff, because I'm not very comfortable. I know a lot of people do Kickstarters, and that's something I'm not really comfortable with myself, because I'm usually not in a position monetarily to really do Kickstarters. That whenever I've heard about how kind of the negative sides of things. So yeah, I'd like to just be able to like buy the book and then check it out, or yeah, basically that. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. I will have to definitely look into that at some point. Because I like at least being aware of who's out there, and at least who the decent people are. They're unfortunately, just after kind of dipping my toes in the pond and looking into things a little bit, I have noticed quite a bit of drama in the indie area line. I'm kind of a little frustrated like that, because I'm the type of person I just want to focus on the on making comics rather than fighting with people, because I feel like it just seems like there's a bunch of unnecessary drama. I feel like that's gonna happen with anything But it's just frustrating because it's like, we can do better than this, you know? We need to stop dividing ourselves with unnecessary arguments over things that probably, hopefully, won't really mean anything in the long term. Hopefully. Maybe one thing if it was something that was really more serious, but some of the drama I've seen regarding such things, and I suppose this might creep a little bit to that political side of thing. If it does, I apologize. But it just seems so unnecessary because, but then again, I guess it's wrong to expect everyone to just, get along. Yeah. I'm just sort of, I try to pay attention to at least kind of who's stirring up the garbage, who's minding their business, and who's doing what. And I try to avoid the people that are stirring up the drama, so. I try to avoid following people like that on social media. That, and whenever there are people out there literally saying, putting lies out about other people, that's just, it's annoying. If you're that bothered by it, then go do something comparable yourself, Or better yet, just mind your own business. If they're doing everything right, then leave them be. If there's going to be an issue, then let it be an issue that should actually be dealt with rather than just kicking up arguments for no good purpose. I think it's a little much to say that we should be united as artists and storytellers because this is a bunch of people who are, individuals. And while you would think that some people would be able to sort of set aside certain things because they have a comparable goal. Yeah. That's basically kind of where I used to argue with people on other social media platforms over other things, and that's why I just want to focus. That was, it burns you out, it's exhausting, so that's why I just want to focus on doing the comic thing. Politics have their space, comics have their space. That's the way I look at, and I know there's gonna be people that, you know, have their own opinions. I respect that, but you have to draw a line in there somewhere. You have to learn to separate one from the other rather than letting everything just bleed in. Because I feel like it is easy to want to, cover the political angle, but, and that's one reason why I say I don't really want to do politics on this channel or no politics or whatever. And a lot of that is because there are a lot of people out there already kind of covering certain things. So I feel like I can't really. I'll basically be parroting what they've said because it is what I agree with, but I don't. I just feel it's. Okay. I feel like I cannot bring anything new to the table. There we go. That is why I feel like on that angle. So that is why I just, comics first here, people. And there are people that, some people are cut out to fight certain things. And I want to fight in my own way. And I do agree. Let's grow the indie space and not, people fight about other things all the time. Let's just make comics. Have fun. And then there's the fact that there are people out there who want to argue, but I would like to find a different topic. So, I'm trying to think here. Amen. Amen. Here we only want good stories, good characters, and work on improving our art skills. That is what matters here. That's the important parts. Hmm. Well, that's one reason why I kind of want to separate, the political stuff from comics, at least in my own work, because to me, being professional is about focusing on the thing at hand rather than dragging in other things. Politics will always be divisive, no matter no matter what people in general agree with or don't agree with. So I think it's easier to be professional to just focus on, like, here, just the art, the story, the characters. Focus on those things. The key things that make um, the medium of comics work. In general, that's kind of my goal with my own work. I want to be a place where people can come and just chill and get away from the stress of the day. I used to listen to a radio show, if such a thing exists these days, probably. But I just loved listening to it, and this was years ago when I was a wee one. But I always found the radio show's host voice to be relaxing, and it was something I grew to really appreciate and look forward to each day. And that's sort of what I would like to do with my own live streams and work, is just create that little space where you can come and relax. That is true, and unfortunately, we've gone the other way. We've gone from just do the job to the wrong end of the problem here. I'm probably this live stream is going on longer than I intended. I think, assuming this thing is accurate at all. Let me check. Get this thing to load. Well, that thing says it's been an hour, but I'm kind of questioning that. So I may be wrapping this up shortly. Yeah. So yeah. And I was thinking about that the other day. I sort of miss listening to that radio show. You bring back radio shows. At least kind of the more relaxing ones. Uh, that's fine. I'm rambling too. We're all rambling here. We all ramble here. But yeah. I tend to ramble probably more than I intend to. But it is something I have been genuinely curious about, the indie front, because I am trying to avoid people that, for the most part, I try to approach things with an unbiased attitude because I don't want to go in with the assumptions, because there's already a lot of people out there making assumptions about certain things, and so I will try to go in, and if I follow somebody, it's because I think I can genuinely respect them as a fellow artist versus, you know, other things. And I try to pay attention to that because I don't really like the people that are actively going after others. There's enough of that. But anyways, so I think I'll sort of. I'm halfway tempted to go ahead and just wrap up. I'm not 100% happy with that. There we go. Tidy this up a little bit. Whenever I do the shading, I try to keep in mind where the light is coming from and where the characters are positioned. So yeah. I think I could rework her expression here. I don't know. I try not to get caught up in the trap of always redoing things, because that is indeed. That is a. Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. There we go. Okay. I think I'm a little shocked because I seem to have 6 watchers right now, which I really appreciate that. So thank you, dear watchers, for watching. I didn't mean to let it go on for this long. Anyways, I think that I will try to finish shading this page. It's a little too much. There we go. Try to finish shading this page and then work, not page, panel, and then maybe wind down, because I need to be thinking about that. Thank you, thank you. I'm a little bit shocked to have 6 watchers, but I appreciate anyone that clicks on this video. And I appreciate anyone that clicks on any videos. I'm gonna be honest. I appreciate anybody. There we go. So yeah, I think I'll finish shading this, and then I will call it a night. Perhaps. I hope. Yeah. Hmm. There we go. So yeah, I'm about done shading this panel. So I guess I will go ahead and once again thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it 1,000-fold. Um, I am on Twitter. If you, I know, I think everyone here already knows that I'm on Twitter, but for anyone later specifically that doesn't know, I'm on Twitter, Dog in a Tank Comic, at Dog in a Tank Comic, and that's where you can find me. I don't post often, mostly because I only post whenever I feel like I have something to post. So, but I do post there whenever I do because Twitter is sort of my preferred thing. It's easy to post, and it seems to be kind of the one that's still working. One of the better social media platforms, which I guess is sort of uh well, it works for me. There we go. I will leave it at that. It's just what has worked the best for me. So yeah. So if you haven't, like, subscribe. Um, Again, thank you so much for watching. And I will be hopefully seeing you all next week. I don't know if I'll be doing another live stream this week. I live stream when I can. So, again, thank you so much. And I guess goodbye for now.